This is Picks on Politics with Dan Manarino.
Welcome to Picks on Politics, everybody. I am Dan Manarino, and a big show today with two major interviews. New York Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado breaking away from Governor Kathy Hochul, saying he will not join her on the ticket in 2026, immediately sparking speculation that he will challenge her in next year's primary. But first, the latest candidate to enter the mayoral race, City Council Speaker Adrienne Adams. The speaker entering an already crowded field, as many fellow Democrats of Mayor Adams hope to limit him to one term. To discuss her campaign and the major issues facing the city right now, Adrienne Adams going on the record. And Speaker Adams is back on Picks on Politics. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me back.
Speaker, since you were here in December, you said then all options were on the table, and here we are. You are officially in the race for mayor. So let me ask you, since then, was it Mayor Adams? Was it the field of candidates? What was it as the catalyst that said, okay, I'm in?
It was realizing that 4 deputy mayors, which I consider to be the brains of the computer, walked out and resigned at the same time. That to me was catastrophic, and I knew that I could sit back and do nothing. I had to get into this race. I had to represent a brand new perspective, and I had to do something to ensure that New York remains safe, New Yorkers remain protected, particularly against a bully in the federal administration.
And I've heard you say that you received a number of phone calls to run, right? One of them being from the Attorney General, Tish James. Were there any others who called you to urge you to run?
I think it's out there that the Attorney General is one of my greatest friends and greatest supporters. And there were a few others, both elected and non-elected.
Did the governor call you, Governor Kathy Hochul?
I heard from the governor, yeah.
And she said she wanted you to run?
In so many words, it was, we, appreciate everything that you've done for the city, and that was pretty much.
I also want to talk about the timing of it all, right? You entered the race. It's late in the game. We have a few months until primary. And name recognition is a big factor here. Of course, Andrew Cuomo getting all the attention right now because of his name, right? I noticed in your slogan also that you dropped Adams from your name. It's just Adrienne for mayor. Was that by design?
Well, Dan, it's Adrienne for the people.
Okay.
So, and it was by design, absolutely. We want to make sure that there is not any confusion as far as the two Adams. We have been co-leading for almost 4 years together. And whenever I see it in print, it's just a little disturbing. And it's always no relation Adams. That's my married name anyway.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure that the folks distinguish between the two Adams. It is Adrienne for the people.
And because of the timing, of course, money is a big factor to get you across the finish line, right? And fundraising deadlines are what they are. So how do you see yourself raising the money, getting your name out there, hitting the ground running with just a few short months until the primary?
Sure. Our fundraising has been aggressive. Remember, we've only been doing this for about a month. Yeah. And we have made significant strides in fundraising. We will be completely competitive in this race, and we intend to win it. We are building a broad coalition across the city of New York of diverse voters, people that want to hear from me and hear my story, policies, all of it. So we are in it very enthusiastic to win this race.
Yeah, and I want to talk to you about some of the current events that are kind of playing out in real time while this is all going on with the race, right? Governor Hochul is in Washington, D.C. while we're having this conversation to discuss immigration policies, which are at top of mind for so many, especially on the heels of what we saw play out at Columbia University with the detainment of Mahmoud Khalil. So the Trump administration is looking to revoke his green card, alleging that he distributed flyers supporting Hamas. And then yesterday, Department of Homeland Security agents went into Columbia dorms to search different rooms. I wanted to get your thoughts on all of that, and especially the searches.
The searches are particularly disturbing. We're talking about students who are going to a university for education. Now we have to take a look at the fear and the chaos that this administration has brought to the city of New York. It is extremely disturbing. This is not what school is supposed to be. Students fearful in their living spaces. That's not why they're here. They're here to study. They're here to learn. As far as Mr. Khalil is concerned, we have a constitution, and this is basically taking away his First Amendment rights, a freedom of speech. And if this can happen to him, a green card holder, a legal resident, this can happen to anyone.
So was this, some Democrats are saying that this was an attack on free speech. Do you see it that way?
I absolutely do. You know, as I said, if this can happen to this individual who is here, he's got a wife who's 8 months pregnant. He should be here with her. And now he's shipped off to Louisiana somewhere. If something was wrong, which I don't see, particularly as a layperson, I don't see that a crime was committed. But if indeed there was a crime that was committed, he should be here in New York for due process.
While all this, and on the topic of the dorms and colleges, Mayor Adams, there was a whole discussion of whether or not he sent the police into Columbia University last year when there was those protests going on. If you were mayor, how do you see yourself handling a protest on a college campus?
A protest on a college campus, I believe, as long as it is a peaceful protest, there is no harm done. That is what our law allows. That's what the laws of the city allows. If there are no laws being broken, we have to make sure that, number one, the students are safe, those who are protesting are safe, anyone who is against the protest or protesters themselves, that they are safe. We have to make sure that there is a safe environment. Yep. Other than that, we have a right to peaceful protest here in New York.
On the topic of immigration, too, the federal government launching this investigation into the city's migrant shelter, claiming that there were criminal activities. They want to subpoena these locations for the full list of individuals who stayed inside. And I want to play a soundbite from Tom Honan, the border czar, and then get your thoughts on this. So listen to this.
Sanctuary City is going to get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the community and more collateral arrests, because you have forced us in the community because you failed to let us into jail.
That was in Albany earlier in the week. So your thoughts on issuing the subpoenas for the names that were inside those shelters?
You know, there are families inside those shelters. And the mere fact that the federal government can come in and subpoena for names of families and individuals, I dare say the majority of whom are innocent individuals, it is just another thing that is causing more chaos and harm to those who are seeking a better way of living, a better way of life for themselves and their families.
And he kind of pointed to this idea of sanctuary cities, and that's why more federal agents will be on the ground here. And of course, that comes back to the city council. And I'm sure you've heard this time and time again that the city council sets sanctuary laws into place and they have the power to change it, right? So would you change it? Do you want to change it?
We are not considering changing our sanctuary city laws for very good reasons. For criminal activity, violent criminal activity, all of those stipulations are already built into the law. And ICE is able to carry out the boundaries of the law when it comes to violent crimes already. There is no reason for those laws to change, and it's already proven that sanctuary cities are the safest cities. People have no reason to hide. They have no reason to hide from law enforcement, to be questioned by law enforcement when they are protected under sanctuary cities. So, no, we do not have a reason to change those laws.
Speaker, I want to get your thoughts right now on what's going on with Mayor Adams. A lawyer who was set to review the case against Mayor Adams recommending that the charges actually be dropped. Now, if a judge does follow that suggestion, does that change any of your opinions on the mayor and the calls to resign and the reason you were running?
Well, let me just say that New Yorkers are traumatized right now because of what's gone on the other side of City Hall. People are just tired of the drama. People are exhausted. People are embarrassed. People are getting phone calls from folks in other states saying, what on earth is going on with New York? What's happening with your leadership, with your mayor? And people, I know this firsthand because I hear the stories all the time, people are shrinking in embarrassment of being a New Yorker right now. That should never be. We should be proud of our mayor, proud of our leaders, and another reason why I'm running. With me, there's going to be steady leadership. I have no drama, no scandal, no nonsense.
Okay, there you go. And let me ask you this, because you are the Speaker of the City Council right now, who is facing off against the current mayor, but you also both have day jobs. And that would be to balance the budget right now. So it is budget season. So how do you see yourself as the Speaker working with the mayor who you were also running against to balance the budget, kind of a tightrope, if you will?
My job as the Speaker is to prioritize the needs of all New Yorkers. This is my third budget negotiating with the mayor, with the administration. I expect to have another successful budget. It is going to be to make sure that our programs are intact, that our children remain intact, that they have the resources they need, that our agencies have the resources that they need, and quite possibly to expand those services that are so needed out there. We kept our libraries. We kept our cultural institutions. We maintained early childhood education and pre-K. from harmful budget cuts during the last budget season. We expect for all of those things to be maintained and even grown in this budget. I'm very optimistic about the negotiations. Speaker
Adrienne Adams, appreciate you always coming right here on Picks and Politics. Good to see you again.
Pleasure, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we thank the Speaker for that extensive interview. Still to come, going one-on-one with Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado. He is speaking out about his differing opinions from Governor Kathy Hochul, especially when it comes to Mayor Eric Adams. Now breaking from the governor on the next year's ticket. Many speculating he's gearing up for a run for the state's top office. We'll talk to him about that when Picks on Politics is back in just 2 minutes.